Take it away, Nate.
Hey, welcome to the ALCast, your favorite podcast that is about things. And my name's Nathan, and I guess we can go around and do some intros.
Hi, I'm Chris.
I'm Alan.
Should I look directly into the camera?
Hey, I'm Justin.
Yeah. So
What are we talking about today?
for this week, I think something that's pretty topical and pretty at the forefront of public awareness is like these various like kind of gun control arguments, debates and opinions and controversies and all these things, and also. It's one specific topic on the internet where people will just materialize out of the ether and yell at you, which is always fun. And I think it's gotten to the point where it doesn't even matter what your opinion is. I think somebody will do that regardless. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Just to get a basic lay of the land. Like, so what do you guys preliminary thoughts? Like, American gun control. Like, is it like dumpster fire bad, or is it like is it like a nuanced thing? Like, what do you guys think?
I think it's clear that it's dumpster fire bad, right? Like, it's clear to everybody that it's dumpster fire bad, right?
Wait, like, what is dumpster fire bad? The current policy, gun control as an idea?
The current state of gun control in America.
So, we have too many guns, and that's bad. Is that what you're saying?
Well, that combined with the law, I mean, I guess that would be. What is a different argument?
Like, I think it's different to say that too many guns is bad versus the policies that we have in this country is bad. Those are two completely different arguments. I think we're right.
Yeah.
What we're talking about now is like the policies of this country.
Well, when you say gun control, is it going out and getting a gun is too easy? Or are you talking about going out and getting a pistol is too easy? Going out and getting an assault rifle is too easy? Going out and getting a long rifle is too easy? Or are you saying the culture around guns? Or
Yeah, clarify the question, Nate.
I mean, there's just a lot of aspects to it. So I think it's just good that we're raising these aspects. One thing that's kind of of the forefront of the issue is just how powerful guns are now. And then there's, I've seen that point of controversy where it's like through common sense dictates that you want to sort of remove people's ability to get like very, very powerful, like rapid fire weapons. But then you'll have these kind of like gun pedants come out and they'll just like find this like wooden handle gun that can also has the same capabilities. And they're like, well, how about this? Right. But, yeah. Okay. So just assault weapons. That'll be the first thing. Do we have opinions here? So, I guess I'm just trying to find out if we're in accord that there is like maybe something needed to be done specifically about like assault weapons, like these like kind of military rifles or like.
Agreed.
I'm like fairly. I wouldn't say pro gun, but I'm fairly like, all right, guns, gun rights, fine. But I'm also pretty fairly into different types of, I guess, checks and balances, registrations, licenses, however you want to not restrict it, but adding loopholes to access those types of weapons.
I have a question. I have a question.
Yes, sir.
If we, as a country, decide that drugs need to be illegal to the point of putting people in prison for owning them because of the harm that a drug can have on your own body, yet we think that it's fine for everybody to have guns, even though we've seen that like guns are responsible for a ridiculous amount of crimes and deaths in this country, but we like have no problem with it. It's totally fine. Go out and buy whatever gun you want, wherever you want. Like, I just don't see how you can have an argument with those two. How you can.
I mean, I'm also
rationalize the difference there.
I'm also pretty pro legalization of all drugs.
I mean, I have tried to sort of give, so I guess some background for me, like when I first made like a YouTube channel, like I think it was even back in like 2005 or 2006 or something. And I actually made some videos about gun control way back then. And like I don't think I ever shared these with you guys. Probably not. But like one thing that was crazy is that like a lot of people found these videos and they're all really mad at me. A lot of people are just like, oh my god, blah blah blah, like all these comments. Like I don't even know where they came from, and everybody was furious about it. So for one, like if that still happens, maybe that's traffic for the podcast. I don't know. Okay, that's. But
I don't want that traffic.
That aside, like, but ever since that happened, like I have been trying to sort of figure out like what's going on in their heads a bit, and so I think I can kind of answer the question, and the answer is like, okay, so you won't get a lot of pushback from people trying to outlaw drugs because like it's clear that there's a negative effect, but people don't perceive that to have any positive effect either, so they're not going to fight. They're not going to fight for that, but like. Maybe the guns would have a much clearer, worse impact, but the fact that people think they also have a positive impact, then they're going to want to weigh those two
What's
things.
What's the positive impact of guns?
So people are thinking about it in this kind of like historical way, and like so I just saw this article and I thought it really kind of summed up the current fixation on it, and it seems like the Republican Party is kind of transitioning into a party that's trying to figure out a strategy for minority control over the country. And they kind of view guns as like an instrument of minority control, right? So like, I guess the clearest example would be like the Ba'ath Party in Iraq. You know, it's like the Ba'athist officers had pistols, and they were also authorized just to like literally like kill anybody that disagreed with them. So people in Iraq, they saw rifles all the time. People in the army had rifles, but like, as a regular soldier, you weren't allowed to just use your rifle. So common people weren't afraid of rifles in Iraq. But if like somebody saw a pistol, they'd be terrified because it's like the minority control party walking around with the pistols were actually just like executing everybody. Like, so it's like they view it as like an instrument of their like minority control over the country, basically. And that's like, I don't know, that's kind of, and there's a bit more.
So wait, sorry, but what is the positive aspect of guns? You said the positive aspect of guns is using them as minority control.
No, I'm glad you asked the question because that's really not the positive. So the positive aspect is
depending on your perspective, right?
Well,
if you want minority control.
That could be their positive aspect, but like a more general positive aspect, or what somebody might try to sell you on, would be like, okay, like so in 1776, like the king wanted us to pay taxes. But we got our freedom because we all had guns, and then sometime like we're just gonna have to do that again at some point. They're gonna like the government's gonna want something crazy. They're gonna want us to pay taxes on our tea or something, and then we're gonna have to shoot them. Like, I think that's good.
Sorry, I mean, one positive thing of guns is it evens up the playing field in a world where people aren't even. Some dude who's 5'2" and some dude who's 6'2", you know, the dude who's 6'2" can.
The positive aspect of guns is you can kill people bigger than you.
Yes, that's the positive impact of guns.
I mean, honestly,
when you have to protect yourself, like, that's it.
Protect yourself from what, Alan? How often are you getting assaulted on the street?
I'm not getting assaulted, but I don't live in the middle of nowhere, and I don't live in a dangerous city or a dangerous neighborhood.
You live in a city. You live near a city.
And
living in the middle of nowhere, I feel like you would have less of a chance of being assaulted in the middle of nowhere.
Okay,
well,
all right. Real world example.
Almost every farmer has multiple guns because they need to like fucking kill random shit. Animals, people. The police can't come to you if you're.
You need an assault rifle. You need an AK-47 to kill fucking.
AK-47. We didn't say assault rifle. We didn't say assault rifle. We said gun. We
were talking about assault rifles.
The original question was like, do you think assault rifle should be banned?
I understand we said assault rifle, but the question was, what are the positive impacts of guns? Positive impacts.
I think that was a follow-up question.
Sure. Well, assault rifles are a different question.
Sure.
I still don't think that is a positive impact of gun. I think that's a neutral impact. You can do that same exact thing with multiple other weapons.
I actually think well, it just depends on your value. Like it depends on your value judgment of the situation. Like, is a situation where larger, stronger people just have more power to do sorts of things? Like, is that bad, or is a situation where everybody's equal but like lots of people are getting shot like worse? Like it really depends on what aspect of those two things that.
Hey, the situation where dozens of children die on like a monthly basis because of guns is worse. I'm just going to go out and say that's worse. That's like worse.
But yeah, but
Anything else you could say?
I think we should untangle the assault weapons in that, because what that at that point Alan made is like just a little hand pistol would still apply, right? That if that's one of the positive aspects, like you don't, and in fact you wouldn't even be able to carry an assault rifle around with you everywhere anyway. Like that's so I think the assault rifle thing is a different thing. I think that like the social concealed carry like equalization of whatever that's going
I also
on there.
don't think that needs to happen. We don't live in the Wild West anymore. People don't need to be carrying 6-shooters on their hip. We have police and we have like these institutions for a reason. It's so that we don't have to all carry weapons on us to kill other people if they look at us wrong, if we get scared by them, if they rear end our car. Like, well, why do we need to be walking around with guns on our hips? I thought we lived in a safe country. I thought we lived in a country that had police that were supposed to protect us. So like,
I mean, this is kind of interesting place to go with it though, because like one of my biggest takeaways from recent events is that like the police actually might not do anything, right? It's like, I don't know. I didn't quite get this like ACAB sentiment before. I like, it kind of went over my head a little bit, but I feel like I get it now. It's just like what's the point? I don't know. Like, why even like?
Well, I don't think that shows. I don't think that gives a reason to not have police. I think that shows a reason why we shouldn't have assault rifles in the general population, because the police, to Alan's point, had those same guns. They had equal guns to the shooter, and there were 10 of them and one of him, and he still murdered dozens of children and adults. Like, it doesn't fucking matter. I think that it's not about stripping the police. It's why do police need to have AK-47s and full body armor and SWAT gear if they're not going to fucking do anything with it?
Yeah.
From just terrorize people who are trying to protest in the streets. Like, we saw a real world scenario with an active shooter. The police came and did nothing, even though they had the same weapons, even though they had body armor, even though they had all this training that we're paying for, and they did fucking nothing. So
there's definitely one of two things definitely happened there. One, either the increasing militarization of police and the common understanding that everybody can have all this military gear also is just a net loss for everybody involved, which is probably true. But we have to concede that it's possible maybe that police department just completely incompetent.
Okay. When I first heard about the shooting, I was actually somewhat sympathetic to the police's position. So if you believe that everyone in the classroom is dead, it's not an active shooter situation, and he just got a gun, and you can wait for more backup to arrive, then I think it's fine to, like, just let him sit in the room. Like, you have the perimeter surrounded, like all that other shit. But in this case, none of that was actually true. There were children in the classroom calling. Like, it was a really fucked situation.
So so all that was just completely untrue.
Yeah. I don't know who made the calls on that, but like, the doctrine for active shooters is very clear. Like, you need to throw bodies in the way to prevent harm. Like, and they just failed to do that, despite being, from what I saw, like from the photos, like pretty well armed. Like, incredibly well armed. Like, they didn't have like SWAT gear or anything. The town did have This is the other point, is that 40% of the town's budget apparently in the last year went directly into the police department. Yeah. And that town actually does have a SWAT team, and they just didn't respond. It wasn't even the cops that intervened. It was a random border patrol squad that drove 70 miles up to intervene. And then when they got there, they were actually held up by the police for like 40 minutes. Like, they were willing to go in there and just shoot the dude. And then the cops just stand by, and so they just stood by until they got sick of it and then went in. So the police actually did. I wouldn't say nothing, because they did keep him confined to the room. But
did they?
I think the important question here, though, is that is like the assault weapons in the picture, is that just making this whole situation worse to the extent that like these are like normal people, and we can just expect this exact same sort of thing to happen over and over again because normal people just become incompetent when there's assault weapons involved?
Wait, Nate, I want to say one thing to that. It's not expect. We've seen it over the past 20 fucking years. We've seen mass shootings on a ridiculous scale. Like, it's not even expect anymore. We're seeing the actual evidence of it happening in front of us.
No, I'm just trying to figure out what's our objective in sort of going into the details of like what the response was. Like, is because it seems like one possible motivation might be like, okay, these are all the mistakes that they made. Okay, they shouldn't have done this. Okay, well then that means the gun's not so bad. But I mean, I think
wait. Can you repeat that? Can you repeat that?
So I'm trying to figure out if we're going to be kind of forensically going through the situation and like figuring out like what their instant response was and like what kind of mistakes they made. Like, it seems like the main reason why you'd want to do that is so if you have the belief that a gun is not going to inherently destabilize society in its own, just by existing an assault weapon, I guess the theory is a stable society could exist with assault weapons in it. And to go on with this theory, you'd have to have like a doctrine. You'd have to have like your police that are willing to do these things and like. But in this example, like the whole scenario just fell apart. Like there was no.
Yeah.
There was no like competent response. There was like nobody knew what was going on. Like.
The opposite of what you're saying. I think that this is a perfect case where every single argument that just says put more guns in people's hands because that is what is going to stop this gun violence has been like factually proven wrong, because we saw that 12 well-armed police officers with the same guns cannot stop one single person with a gun.
But
so that argument is just completely wrong.
That point is stronger if they weren't incompetent, though. That's what I'm saying. If they were competent police, but the situation was impossible because the guns made the situation impossible, that argument's stronger.
You can't judge that based on this. You can't say that the competency came down to the police. It could have been something to do with some other member.
So the police were absolutely incompetent. Like, I just want to take this opportunity to shit all over them because they deserve it. Fuck those cops.
Right.
But if they were incompetent, that's actually a stronger argument against the guns, though. That's what I'm saying. Sorry, I mean, if the police are incompetent, it's a weaker argument against the guns. Because then the expectation is...
I think you take that
more
competent.
You just put this as an excuse, right? The excuse is, oh, well, you have to find a better good guy with a gun. Because the good guys with the guns that showed up this time were not as good. And we need better good guys with guns.
Well, if these were the good guys with a gun, then the whole good guy with a gun idea doesn't work.
Correct. The whole good guy with the gun argument doesn't work.
For that point to really be clear, then it should also be clear that the police, there wasn't anything specifically wrong with this police department. They're like that this, I don't know, maybe they were incompetent, but if they were just incompetent in like a normal way that we can expect to be very common, then it's like
yeah, I don't know. I don't know how many other police departments react to a situation like this.
So the appropriate reaction I've read is sort of like what Justin said, throw bodies at it, but you're not quite supposed to throw bodies at it. You're supposed to just have everyone tunnel vision on the shooter. So you literally walk over people dying and asking for help, and you literally rush the shooter, making as much noise as possible, because the idea is that the shooter's probably going to kill themselves, and if not, you kill the shooter. Then you worry about everybody else. So that's supposed to be the response.
Yeah, you keep him occupied so he doesn't have the opportunity to shoot other people.
And you think having assault rifles and the fun of guns is worth this?
It's not the fun of guns, man. Like, all right.
Okay. All right, hang on. Can I make a point?
Go ahead.
All right. So in this country, we have the Constitution, and in that we have the Second Amendment. You can argue all you want against the Second Amendment, but that's like the rights that are endowed to us.
The first words is a well-regulated militia. And there are no regulations on guns in a lot of states in this country. Okay, so please tell me again how the Second Amendment applies here.
You can make an argument, but it's clear the Supreme Court's supported gun rights as general ownership.
It is weird that it is weird that with the constitutional argument, everybody ignores the actual text of the amendment, though. That is weird.
Yeah, because the constitutional amendment doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's not interpretations. People just want their fucking guns. They just want to have their guns in their hands.
At least
this doesn't have anything to do with the way that it's written.
Guns. We live in a democracy.
Well, no, we don't actually live in a democracy, because apparently the stats are more than 53% of people support gun control. So that's more than half, and yet we haven't gotten there yet.
Right, yeah. We
live in a representative, what is it, republic then?
Representative republic, whatever. But regardless, the only way to change that is through a constitutional amendment. So if you want fucking guns out of this country, you got to vote for Democrats and tell them to fucking control the shit out of guns. That's the only way you're going to get it done.
I think what you could do, I don't know, maybe this is just like some naive view of constitutional law or something, but to me, I just read a sentence and the first thing I'm going to do is look at the words in the sentence, and it really does say a well-regulated militia. Like, it really does say that. Like,
I'm aware of it. Yeah.
And I don't know. It seems like there's been like a long history of just like ignoring that part of the thing. But I don't know. When I'm first reading it, I'm just not going to do that. So
the intention the intention of this was to create a militia that can secure the rights of a state, so that you can, like Alan was saying earlier, you can like rise up against your government. Do you really think that there's any way that the American people would be able to rise up against the government? There's no fucking way. That the military alone just like completely outguns you. So what is the point of this?
It's our right to bear arms.
So
it just is like
so
it's been argued to death.
We're
the Supreme Court says like we can own guns. Like whether we like it or not, whether you think it's good, I don't think it's good.
But
that's all right.
But does that need to change to actually have a different situation than what we have now?
That's the question. Yes.
Yeah. So how about what if you make a new type of institution that's not part of the government? What if you make this kind of like constitutional armory institution, right? And then the armories, then what they have to do is they have to have like regulations as to like who gets rifles or like where they're kept or like, and that's their business. But you can have laws that say like, okay, if maybe every gun needs like a symbol on it for like what armory it belongs to, and then like if an armory isn't like doing this properly and these guns get out and then federal agents could try to find the guns like not secured in the proper way by the armories, and then like sue the armories that I don't know, like it seems like there's some possible way to do this, and I haven't completely figured it out yet, but like
I also want to point out that in relation to this whole argument of like it's the Constitution, it's our rights, the Second Amendment was actually added on to the Constitution 4 years after the fact.
Yes.
So again, right, it's an amendment, but that doesn't make it foolproof. That doesn't make it concrete. And multiple amendments on the Constitution have been amended themselves.
Right,
multiple
yeah.
amendments have that happen.
That might be very
that's cool.
Like what you're talking about is completely separate from here. You're saying that the Constitution has an amendment in it that says that we are allowed to have guns. What we're saying here is that gun control needs to be a thing in this country, and you're saying that's never going to happen until the Constitution changes. That's wrong. Gun control doesn't mean stripping everybody's guns away.
That's all I'm saying.
I agree with you there.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah,
that's the point I'm trying to make.
Stripping people's guns away. It means regulation. It means control. It means not. In Texas, it's easier to get a fucking assault rifle than it is to get a license. I've been here for a year now, and I still haven't been able to make an appointment to get my license. But I can go to any fucking store and buy as many guns as I want. That's fine. That's okay.
I guess. So, I mean, that's how it is. That sucks. But
let's talk about what was it, 53? There's some percentage of people that wanted some change to happen, but there is a pretty sizable slice of people that don't want it to happen. And what I'm talking about is like, what if there are ways to approach a situation where it's like, because there's going to be different factions. There's going to be a guns are fun faction. There's going to be like a tyranny. We're afraid of that, and we want to be able to defend ourselves. And then there's going to I don't know all the different groups of it, but it's like, I don't know, like what if trying to address the concerns that can be addressed is actually the way to make this actually happen? What if that's like the practical approach? Because like, I don't know, maybe whatever NRA percentage of the country exists, they do seem to have a disproportionate amount of power. So it's like, if there's some way to peel off some chunk of support, like I don't know.
I think I agree with that. Like, we're not going to get sweeping gun control measures. We're not going to get gun buyback programs like fucking Australia or something. That shit is just...
Why not, though? Especially if
we need 66,
if they're personal
we need 67
choice.
votes. Like,
well, no. Okay, stop.
Yeah.
We live in a country that supports states' rights. Every state can do whatever they want in relation to this. So we can stop saying that it's about
can't override the Constitution. The federal government.
The Constitution, but a state can say that we actually have harder regulations on guns. Like multiple states do have regulations on guns. Yes, you can go to another state and buy a gun and then bring it back in some cases.
And then an individual sues the government.
It doesn't mean that we can't regulate them. It doesn't mean that the fight for this can only start when we fix the Constitution. The fight needs to start elsewhere. We need to start making these changes in the state level.
I disagree with that a little bit, because I mean the biggest example is Chicago. Like Illinois can do whatever they want to regulate guns, but as long as Indiana is like 3 miles away from Chicago, like it's not going to work. right? So like, I think it does need to be a national thing. Like I don't.
Well, I think you're talking about like problems with America overall. Like that's a problem everywhere.
Well,
like
and any city close to a state line,
you can go and buy weed and then cross over states, and depending on what state you cross over into, you're now smuggling illegal drugs, and like you can get arrested. It's states' rights. Like states can have different ideas about how they want to implement gun control, because that's what that's like the one tier of America. That's the reason why America is supposed to be America, right? Is that it ultimately is up to the states to decide what the rights are in those areas, and you can't go against the Constitution, but you can maybe fudge it a little bit.
Well, could a state ever assert its right to like check border traffic though? Like I don't think.
Sure.
I don't think they do have that. States do have that right. I think the federal government would.
Actually. I can tell you an instance of it happening. So in Philadelphia, in Philadelphia, both cigarettes and now weed are like super highly taxed. In states surrounding Philadelphia, New Jersey and Delaware, they have no taxes on those kind of items, like on cigarettes. So people would leave Philadelphia, go to Delaware, buy huge amounts of cigarettes, and then bring them back. When the Pennsylvania government realized this was happening, they set up agents, like police officers at the checkpoints there, like the bridge from Delaware into Pennsylvania, to check people who were coming in to make sure they weren't smuggling these things across state lines. It's absolutely something a state can do.
But they must have had some profile, like, because I don't think you can just intercept 100% of traffic on a bridge and search everybody. Like, I don't think.
I think you wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like just a general border control measure. Like if I'm going up through Canada through some major thoroughfare, I'm probably going to get checked at the border and like, hey, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, move along.
What are you carrying with you? What's in your trunk?
Yeah.
Like that kind of shit.
That's interesting. I haven't heard of that. I would have thought that it would be against the state's interests to have a policy like that, but apparently they so.
My understanding was that states literally could not do that.
For sure. Like I think it's okay to do it. I'm just surprised that
I think if the police had a profile of who was doing it, what kind of vehicle they used or something, I think they could have had some success that way.
DUI checkpoints.
Sorry?
What about DUI checkpoints? They check people for drinking all the time, and they don't have a specific like vehicle that they're looking for. They just check people on specific roads and say, hey, this is a road that we know traffics a lot of people who drunk drive, so let's set up a DUI checkpoint here. Hey, this is a road that we know a lot of people use to come in and out of this state to smuggle drugs.
Maybe it is illegal. Maybe states actually.
I think clearly it's legal. Like,
different states have different
that's a really
regulations.
solid example.
Different states have different regulations for those stops. In some states, like it's technically a DUI checkpoint, but all you have to do is literally just show them your license and registration. You don't have to say a word. You don't have to open your window. You can literally just crack your window, slide out the documents, not respond to anything, and then they'll give you your stuff back. It's just one of those.
This would be a huge change, though.
Right?
What?
Like,
I mean, this would basically mean having borders in the United States. If like the states can't reconcile their gun policies at all, and then they also can't coexist with such dramatically different policies, they would need borders.
No, Nate, this is something that's been happening for 120 years. This is not a new problem. There are multiple states that have stricter gun laws than the states living next to them, and people do just go out of that state. You see it with animals too. There are tons of states that have laws in like what animals you can house and what exotic animals you can own. The state over doesn't, so you just go to that state, you buy whatever you want, and you come back.
I'm aware of the problem. I just have never seriously considered a border as a solution to that problem. But it seems like we're saying that a border could be a solution.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean,
depending on how bad you think it is, yeah, but possibly.
That's a completely novel idea to me. I mean, maybe it could be.
Yeah, I mean, like if you want to
really want our states to have borders like that,
maybe, maybe we do.
Maybe if people feel strongly enough about gun control, then maybe, yeah. Like if you want to set up a border between California and Nevada, maybe that's good. I don't know. Fuck.
Maybe we don't need United States anymore, and we just need to break off into individual countries.
Yeah, I mean, like I think it would be. What's the word I'm looking for? It'd be really cumbersome, and it would probably impact a lot of like state economies and stuff, and that would probably not be good. But I mean, depending on how strongly people feel about it, maybe that's okay. I don't know.
Well, at least you'd finally get an answer as to whether or not the laws work, because I feel like the states that have tried to do it have never really had a fair shot at it. And like I don't know the answer, have states that have tried to do gun control, like individual states trying to do gun control. We've never really gotten. I don't know. The one I think of is Illinois, because they've really tried, but like the guns keep on coming. I mean, New York's done it, Illinois has done it. and there's just always there's always like a pipeline of guns going from states where they're easy to get to states where they're hard to get.
Yeah, and it's already illegal to traffic guns. It's just like you need enforcement action to like.
But yeah, I mean, right now you can just drive up 95 and you don't even have to stop. Like,
right? Yeah,
maybe at a
like there's no enforcement. So like, is there really a law?
Right.
Yeah.
But I think there's something to the idea that we need to include the pro-gun people in a solution. I don't think you're going to get anything done if you're just
I thought that was required, but now we've got this border idea. So
sure, yeah,
segment them off into their own country.
Yeah.
I think we should do like state level solutions on this. Honestly, like
I think that's the first step is that we get to state level.
Yeah.
Honestly,
like,
I wish the government had a buyback program, especially if it was voluntary, because that would be huge.
Blue states can implement as much gun control as they can. We'll see how much actually gets through the courts. And then red states, maybe they can get pro-gun solutions and they can just throw guns in every classroom. We'll see. We can see what happens either way. Like, I'm down for...
But again, haven't we already seen it? Haven't we already seen, like, over the past 10 years or so, the increase in police budgets and the amount of weapons that we were just, like, giving out to the police department, and that it hasn't stopped these mass shootings?
Yeah,
if anything,
clearly,
the mass shootings have gotten worse over the past 20 years.
Clearly, increases in police budgets aren't necessarily the solution, although in some areas maybe you could argue that because crime has been getting worse as a result of reducing police budgets. But
is that true?
Yeah. Where did this happen? I think it happened somewhere in Minnesota.
Can you repeat that, Justin?
There are some areas where crime has increased as a result of reducing police budgets.
I mean, I think
that happened in Minneapolis. I believe it was. Fuck! I lost my train of thought. Go on.
We're hitting like 6 different points, but in terms of police budgets, like I always thought we need to like. Maybe this doesn't make sense, but to me it made sense. Like if you increase the police budget, you hire more police, and then you send the police like 60% of the time to do training, and 40% of the time to do police. Although, as we said earlier, like that happened. I guess I don't know how much they trained, but the police were decently trained in this past incident, and they were pretty incompetent. So I don't know if that would necessarily happen.
Like holy fuck, I can't believe how badly this fucked us up. Like I honestly, like I am fucking what? I'm mind blown. Holy shit! Like what the fuck?
That what? Oh, how badly the police fucked us up.
How badly they fucked it up.
I'm
the
not
fucking
surprised.
Uvalde police or fuck. How do you even pronounce the city? I don't even remember.
The town?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, we don't need to be outfitting and training these small town police to be military organizations. We don't need to be doing this.
If they actually do something with it, it might be okay.
Then why? Like, what if they went in there and they just fucking mowed the entire school down there? Like, we got them.
Well, one of the reasons that they're outfitted like that, I believe, is because the military needs to sell their excess armaments, and they can't really sell it to many other people, so they just sell it to the police.
Yeah, they sell it for cheap, and the police kind of eat it up. I don't think that's something that necessarily needs to happen, but it is what happens. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think the militarization of the police it's very bad. It's like very bad for like a lot of reasons. It's like the equipment. I don't know. It's like there's a lot of communication that happens, right? It's like, and depending on the type of gear somebody's carrying as they like walk through the door, it will communicate a completely different thing. So you can just have like some normal like blue police uniform, like some guy walks through that door, and you'll have one outcome out of some situation on the other side of the door, or you could have like the body armor or assault rifle police come through, and then like you'll just get a completely different outcome. Like,
yeah,
and the militarization of the police, it's basically like the conclusion of that is just going to be like a war with the public. Like that's where it's going, because that's what you're preparing people for.
Yeah, for sure. It does seem like there's a lot of political will to do something right now, and I think we're just not finding a consensus on what to do. I think you need to focus on what would have prevented this situation.
Oh yeah, that reminded me. So
Yeah.
one idea that's occurred to me a bit is that, like, given how ineffective all the money spent on the police was, what if that money was just spent on like architectural shit that actually made the school like harder to shoot up?
Like door locks.
Oh my god, we don't need to put more doors in. Just fucking get rid of the assault guns. God damn it.
It's like the shooter, it's like walks down the hall, and then you have like these, like Star Trek, they like lock the doors around them, like like.
I mean, all they had to do was lock a door, man.
So I understand all that, and I understand why people.
You think a gun can't shoot a fucking locked door? You think because a door is locked, a gun isn't able to shoot the handle open?
No, that's a meme. You shoot the lock, it won't work, and it'll be stuck.
Want to bet? I'll shoot it.
No.
Give me a gun, and I'll shoot a fucking door open right now.
Well, hold on. So
Kill children. You think he's gonna stop because he's like, oh shit, there's a door in my way. Oh shit, they locked it. I guess I can't do anything about this. He has a fucking assault rifle.
I saw a video of this guy get locked in this like store. He had a gun. He tried to shoot the door. It didn't work. He was just trapped there.
Yeah, maybe he'd get a ricochet round in the leg and just bleed out on the spot. I don't know. There would be a barrier. Like
there would be a barrier.
So
that would be better than nothing. All right, like it's something. Keep your doors locked. They're there for a reason. I don't know.
I mean,
Rid of assault rifles.
So we don't like the door. We don't like the door.
And then we don't have to worry about that shit.
Okay.
How about robot security guard?
I want to address
robot
that point,
security guard.
I generally agree with an assault weapon ban. Like, fine, that makes mostly sense to me. I can imagine extremely minimal circumstances where a citizen would need an assault rifle. Like, I get that. Next question would then be, if someone's going to shoot up a school, I don't think not having access to an assault rifle would stop them.
Yes, that is exactly what I was going to say.
And I don't think,
but it just won't be as bad.
Like, I understand other countries don't have mass shootings and stuff, but I generally feel like the type of person, I understand that, but I feel like the type of person that's going to shoot something up, like, not having a gun's not going to stop them.
But not giving them a gun makes it a lot
harder to find a way to shoot. We're like completely contradicting each other.
Do you not understand? Like, the fact that man was just able to get as many guns as he wants is a problem. We can't discount this problem. We can't just keep talking about it and say, oh yeah, I agree. But also, I don't think that's the solution. It is a solution. You were just saying we need to find incremental solutions. It is a solution.
There's no one on the other side that's going to support an assault rifles ban. Like,
give a shit if there's no one on the other side. It is a solution. It is what we need to do.
For it.
Every fucking country in the world except for ours has it.
Our country sucks. Like, our people are dumb as fuck. All right, we need solutions that work for dumb fucks. All right,
79%.
I disagree with the idea that somebody that wants to do this is going to use some other means. So I think it's like, people have some self-image. They want to be like, oh, like I'm like this badass person, and I'm like good at the things that I do. And then you're trying to get a tool, and then you're like, you get like a hammer, and you play through the scenario. You try like going and killing somebody with this hammer, and it's like, no, I don't seem that badass. No, no, it won't do that.
Yeah, killing sprees are a lot harder to do when you don't have machine guns.
Right, but then then you pick up the machine gun, and then you feel like you're like competent or something. Yeah.
If you're locked in a room with 30-something kids, like any weapon is pretty easy to use.
Hey, let's talk about this. A man goes into a room with 30-something kids with a handgun, and police come up with assault rifles.
Yeah, the police are going to be just an argument to be made for that. Sure, I agree.
Maybe the police should have those weapons and not civilians.
You guys are yelling and popping your mics, by the way. So
yeah, Chris, you're popping your mic quite a bit.
Me?
No, Chris.
No, me.
Wouldn't you have done it with a hammer before he turned 18 then?
What? Say that again?
Potentially he could have, but like I think that dude wanted the most badass fucking weapon he can get. And with
right, I mean, they're going for the badass.
But if he didn't have access to an AR-15, he would have gone with dual elites. Like, clearly that's the answer.
And he would not have been as effective, and not as many children would have died. Why is that not? Again,
well, keep in mind, like, you know. So okay, defending the police, I think, makes the argument for gun control better. So if the guy had pistols, that means our body armor would have worked. Because the AR-15 is going to go right through body armor.
Yeah, that's true. Like, I think there's a total argument to be made for that. But again, I don't think there's any political will to ban assault rifles. At least on the Republicans that would pass in a meaningful way.
I don't think there's any political will to do anything about this. We're just going to pass through this and do nothing. So should we just stop fucking having this conversation right now? Should we just walk away from it because our fucking politicians aren't going to do anything about it? Because it seems like that's what the answer is. Stop talking about it. Nothing's going to happen. That's fucking stupid. Children are dying, dude. Like,
Yeah,
how
it
are we...
sucks.
It doesn't.
It sucks. It's awful. Like, I don't think there's anything that's going to get done at the federal level, unfortunately. Like, maybe there would be some will to increase the age of assault weapons, like purchasing assault weapons to like 21. Maybe. But I think that's the only thing that could have addressed this situation at all.
So how did the assault weapons ban get passed to begin with?
In 96, people were different. They were just different. I don't know.
Yeah, in 96, people were just fucking different. Yeah. You're an idiot. This all comes down to politicians, dude.
Okay, no. Hang on. Let me back up. In 96, Clinton won with a very large majority. There was a very Democratic majority in the Senate, and they were able to get something passed because of that. And that's what happened.
Don't forget, there was no Facebook.
There was also no Facebook, but either way, there wouldn't have been enough Republicans to really fight against it. So Democrats would have gotten it. That's the only. That's it. You just got to vote for Democrats.
Yeah, I don't know. This theme's come up before. It's like the situation with the Senate, and then like I don't know. It seems like Democrats don't tend to think strategically about this. It's like, people will like there'll be a lot of advocacy and a lot of like effort into communicating like the problem, but like when it really comes down to it, like I think I think Republicans are kind of lining up a minority control of the country because they're actually thinking very strategically, and I just don't think Democrats tend to do that.
So our Senate's 50-50. Our Senate's about 50-50. 48 Democrats, 50 Republicans, 2 independents. There's a Democrat in the presidency. Our House is majority Democrat. So why is this different? Why is it different now than it was in 1996?
One, there were more Democrats, and they could overcome filibuster. That's it. Like,
I don't think that's going to fix this problem.
50 Democrats is a razor thin majority. Like razor thin. You need the vice president to throw the tiebreaker. Everything you want to do.
They'll do it, but
then the vice president is a Democrat. So let's go.
Yeah, but we can't. We have to get 60 votes to overcome a filibuster. Like, you can either nuke the filibuster, which I would actually be in favor of, but then whenever the Republicans take over, they're going to pass a bunch of shit that we don't like. And I'm willing to eat that. That's fine. Like, do shit.
So why can't the Republicans just vote for gun control?
Because their fucking people don't like it. That's it.
But we've seen that the stats don't support that.
They do, though.
53% of the American public are for.
Where do you think those 50 Democrats come from?
Stricter gun control.
53% of people need to be more strategically distributed to actually get something.
They're more centralized in urban areas. The Republicans kind of.
What I'm basically asking you is, how is this ever going to happen? Every single solution to like try to make the two-party system not shit, and it's just like, oh well, it's just going to be like that. What the fuck, man? Is that what we're just doing? We're just saying, oh well, I guess it all sucks, so we just give up.
I'm saying, honestly, do state level shit. Just do a bunch of state level shit. We'll see if something works out. Maybe we can get something passed out of that.
Is it illegal for
something that's effective?
Is it illegal to just purely out of political reasons just to move like hundreds of thousands of people to catch votes? Like,
well, you just stop gerrymandering shit, and they don't have to worry about that because the votes are already there. It's just they've been gerrymandered to fuck, so they get counted.
You can't. It's the Senate though. Like nobody can gerrymander the Senate. You just get the built-in gerrymandering in the Senate already. Like
you can gerrymander House seats, but a Senate seat is much more difficult to do it unless you live in a purple state or something, and then maybe you can like fudge some stuff.
Can you? I thought that those were just at-large seats for most states.
I mean, they're still broken up into districts of some sort, right?
I didn't think they were, or maybe that's state by state. But I thought it was just like at large for most states, the senators.
I could be wrong. I don't know.
I mean, there's congressional districts, but I don't know there were Senate districts. But like, yeah, I don't know. It just keeps on seeming to me like if there's no convincing anybody about anything, then just moving bodies. If there's these huge majorities in these blue states, and like that just seems like the right answer. And I remember before we decided, okay, like this is about the abortion thing. It's like, well, like, you know, pick one of the states, pick Texas, for example. But if you're talking about Senate seats, like actually you want to go for the least populated states. It's like you want to do like Wyoming first, right? Like,
I suppose, yeah. And that's we're kind of seeing that in Georgia, right? Like more Democrats are moving to Georgia. It's getting more and more purple. We actually have a Democratic senator from there. Like
that's a big state though. That's like number 7, I think.
Is it really? Wow. Okay. Well, either way, like, it's becoming more and more purple. But yeah, if you want to do something, I think you have to act at the state level, and that's the only thing you can do. Like nothing's going to move federally. It's just I don't think the will is there unless you find like some really niche solution.
I think my concern here is that we're just the solutions to every one of the things that we've discussed has just been, well, we just need more Democrats. We just need more Democrats. And that's true. What my concern is that if every week we're just saying, well, the solution here is just we need more Democrats, then what are we actually fucking saying? Like anything at all?
Fucking vote. Get off your fucking young ass and go vote.
No, I agree. I think more Democrats move to Wyoming. Isn't that what, like that's?
Oh, I guess you can move.
I mean, I'm not joking though. Like, isn't that the answer? Like,
and we're going to come back around to like that's not really possible for the majority of people. You can't tell people that if you don't like it here, just go somewhere else.
Yeah,
no, not just really work. I don't want to tell individual people to do that. I'm just wondering, like, why isn't that there like any organized effort there?
Like,
there definitely is. Anybody's willing to do that just to vote differently.
Yeah, I think there definitely is not an organized. You're right. There's probably not an organized effort, but I think it is definitely like it's something that I've talked about with many people multiple times. Like how the only way to actually make these changes is to move into these states and start voting blue, because these states are not going to switch over by themselves. Like Texas isn't just going to, the people of Texas are not just going to wake up one day and decide we want to be more progressive. It's something where people have to come in and like educate the people that feel a different way. I don't know. A lot of this can come down to education. I bet that if a lot more people actually knew the statistics related to gun violence and actually knew like the facts of what are happening, there might be a lot of changes. A lot of people might have a different opinion, but
I'm glad you said that, Christopher. Facts. Because I mean, one of the things is like, I mean, I maybe this is an appropriate thing to focus on. Like, I understand guns are an issue. I get that. So that's issue 1, right? Then there's also like 17 other issues built into this, right? So I feel like the gun thing might be an uphill battle, but maybe we can attack more at like some of the root causes of why someone goes and fucking shoots up a school anyway, right?
We've been trying. I agree. I think that we need to have better mental health care in this country in general. But I think focusing on why the shooter did it is doing the exact same thing that focusing on the police being cowards is doing. It's it's deferring the argument. You're pushing the argument away from the fact that why was an 18-year-old able to just go and buy an assault rifle? You're pushing that argument away. And you're saying, well, it's mentally unstable people. Oh, well, it's bullied people. Oh, it's people that play video games. Oh, it's people that listen to aggressive music. It's not. It isn't. Like, every mentally unstable people. I have depression. I have anxiety. I have probably ADHD at this point. I take medication for 2 of 3 of those. That doesn't mean that I'm going to go and shoot up a school because I'm mentally unstable. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a huge difference there between having actual mental problems and needing help with either schizophrenia or depression or whatever other like problems you have going on in your mental state, and just going to a store and buying a gun. Like, it's ridiculous that it's that easy. It's ridiculous that it just takes you going into a store and saying, here's my money, give me a weapon that I can use to murder dozens of people without a second thought.
And it's, to some degree, it's always going to be an unknown, like just what any random person is going to do. And I don't know how relevant this is, but one thing that actually always kind of struck out to me as kind of funny is that, like, so there's some things that are common symptoms of having a stroke, but like literally anything that you perceive as your brain doing something. Like, any experience you have is something that your brain's doing. So, like, literally any experience you could possibly have could also be like a symptom of a stroke, right? It's just like of all the things that are possible, like you can have a stroke and then that could be the outcome, right? So maybe it's just like you're just a perfectly well-adjusted person going about your day, and then you have a stroke, and then you're like, oh my god, like all these children, like I need to go do these things. Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
something
don't know.
switch. It's in your, like, that's what happens. Like, mental illness isn't something that, like, for some people it's there for their entire lives, but for some people it just triggers. One day, like, something happens that divorces their mind from reality or creates this kind of like schism, which triggers this mental illness, this schizophrenia or whatever it is, and then they just go and act on it. Like, it just can happen to everybody.
Yeah.
And
So I think, like, I don't know. I think you probably could try to have some effort that would be effective in like reducing the number of bad things that would happen. But I think you'd never be able to like prove that your strategy is going to be 100% effective because there's
Yeah.
always
What
going to be
about-
this unknown.
what about bad days? What if a person's just having a bad day and they decide to go kill a bunch of people? How are you going to flag for that?
Actually, I thought of something. I have an idea. So I believe it was Reagan passed stricter gun control because black people in California were open carrying assault rifles. Is that correct?
Hell yeah, baby.
Okay, so just arm everybody with assault rifles, have everyone open carry, and then see what happens. Especially when the minorities start open carrying in fucking Dallas.
Yeah, no, it has to be minorities. I honestly think a big chunk of the Republican Party would come around if they saw like Black Panther Party like assault rifle open carry all over the place. Like I actually think that's
Unarmed
actually the
black
best
men
idea.
get shot in their front yards every fucking day. Do you really think that we're gonna have a bunch of minorities walking around with open carry
Well, there
when
was-
we have
there-
a police that is super ready to
no,
just
that-
pull the
that
trigger on
happened- that
anybody
happened
that
a
they
lot.
think has a gun?
That happened
If
a
they
lot.
if they have, I
mean,
mean,
that-
if the
that's kinda
police want to
sort
make
of-
it a go ahead.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of sort of the argument for putting guns in classrooms, right? Like you just harden up the target a little bit, so it's a little less appealing to psychos.
Who's holding that gun?
I just think it
Why
would
are we telling
force-
teachers to carry guns and learn how to shoot children?
Because we don't
Or other
want
people.
children to be shot.
Why do teachers need to have that responsibility?
Because there's no better
You were
solution.
working at a school
okay,
that's an IT
no, I-
department. Somebody
I
came to
think-
you and said, "Here, you need to have this gun because just in case somebody comes in, you're gonna have to fucking murder them. So now we're gonna
Yeah,
teach you how to
I'd probably
shoot this
move
gun."
or fucking quit.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like we're jamming
But
things
we
together.
can at least try. We could like
No, we
if
can't.
red,
We
if
don't
red
have
states
to
want to do
do
that shit, then fucking do it. Like
No, I think
put guns in
this
those classes,
deserves
we'll figure
some
out if it works or
specific
not.
Before we're just cool with it.
This deserves some specific attention, right?
Time out. Everyone stop yelling at each other. All right. One thing
So,
at a time.
no,
all three of you were talking at the same time. So just breathe, guys. Breathe.
So basically, going back to before, I think we covered the idea that a lot of Republicans are interested in guns as an instrument of minority control, but they'll claim it's a constitutional right for every American. But if they're in their gut, they believe it's an instrument for minority control, and they're the minority, right? But then they want to claim it's right for every American. As soon as they see some other group that might be trying to use the guns as an instrument for minority control, then they're not going to want that constitutional argument anymore. So I honestly think a big slice of people will start completely backpedaling on the constitutional argument as soon as they see like that Black Panther thing. I think that's actually the magic bullet. Like I think that's the best idea we've had. Like
I think that's pretty reasonable, honestly. Like
And that-
as crazy as that is, like I think
That happened
know.
too. That happened during
Maybe.
a ton of the Black Lives Matter protests. You can look them up. There's like open carry people standing in front of the protesters with assault rifles. There was a really famous picture. I think it said like father daughter open carry something.
yeah, I think I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
so I actually really like that picture, but there was kind of the opposite of a silver lining with that though, because I think specifically the group that was doing that are like pretty anti-Semitic. It was like this specific group, but anyway, that image, I think that image was like the right image to put out because it's like, look, if this is a constitutional right, I don't know, people have to deal with that kind of image if they actually believe in that sort of constitutional right. So,
Sure, yeah.
I mean,
I don't know.
I generally don't think something's going to happen overnight. I know that like the Justice Department is doing some investigations, but they can't really force the state to change stuff.
Yeah. One thing that actually did change somewhat recently that I didn't know about is that there used to be a ban on federal funding for gun violence research. And that actually got lifted in 2018, and then funds were allocated, I think, in 2020. So there's currently research going on in the CDC and NIH that might
What
give
does
us
it
some
matter?
solution. It might
What
give
does
us
it
some
matter?
solutions, and
We've
then-
had research on this for the past 20 years, and no matter what solution comes out,
matter,
everybody
like-
just fights against it. You've even said so yourself that nobody's going to vote for less guns. So what could the CDC come out if they come out tomorrow and say, "Hey, it turns out that guns give you AIDS if you shoot them"? it's not going to stop people from going out and buying guns and fighting for their right to bear arms. Like, I don't think anything that comes out of the CDC investigation is going to help move the needle in any direction for this argument. People don't care about the facts. I'll tell you the facts right here. Of the 10 top firearm owning countries, America has the most per 100 residents as 120 guns per 100 residents. The next country, Yemen, with 52 guns per 100 residents. Compared to all homicides in the US, the UK, Canada, and Australia, 79% of homicides in the United States committed by guns. 4% in Australia, or in the UK, 13% in Australia, 37% in Canada.
Wait, 13% in Australia?
No,
They don't even have
37%
guns.
Canada.
Of all homicides in 2020.
Yeah,
How many
that's
homicides were
crazy
there?
to me.
How
They
many
don't have any
homicides were
guns.
there in Australia?
Yeah, I mean,
What I'm
guns are
saying
bad.
is we have the facts. We have facts that like guns are bad, that when you either ban or regulate guns in your country, it reduces gun violence by a significant amount, and nobody fucking cares. So what is this? What could the CDC pie in the sky? What could the CDC investigation come and say that would actually change people's minds on guns?
So they can come out with more concrete evidence that more guns is more violence, which
We already have that
I don't know
concrete
if we have
evidence.
that conclusively.
So the CDC came out with conclusive evidence that more viruses, more deaths, but people like
Yeah, okay.
give all that shit about that. And, like,
You know, we were able to institute some policies that prevented deaths as a result of the work on coronavirus, right? I would hope that the CDC or the NIH can produce similar research that we can create some actionable policy on guns. Maybe. If
I hope that we
if
invent
it's not
time travel,
popular
and then we
enough-
can just go back
Hang
in
on.
time and fix it.
Can I finish my
Right?
point? Okay. Maybe if they're able to put out some research that's well accepted by the public, then the Democrats can leverage that to get slightly more votes, and maybe we can get a slightly more larger majority in the Senate or the House, and we can make some meaningful legislation as a result of that. Because we don't have a razor thin majority anymore, we would have a slightly larger majority that we could make some action with.
okay, so just to review the list of solutions that we've got here. So we've got borders between states, moving to other states, and to get a bigger majority in the Senate, and then open carry, like Black Panther, photo op.
They're all pretty bad. Yeah, for sure.
I would like to officially say I do not agree with any of those solutions.
Okay, Chris. All right, hang on. Let's make you dear leader. What are you going to do?
Ban assault rifles. Ban assault weapons. Immediately. Ban assault weapons across the United States.
How?
And then we see what happens. You make them illegal, and anybody who has an assault rifle either has to turn it in or it
What
gets
is the
confiscated.
mechanism for making it illegal?
Well, you did just make him dear leader. So.
Law.
Well, okay, all right, fine.
What?
You're now president. All right, not necessarily dear leader. You're president. What do?
You write a amendment to the Constitution as a executive action, and you ban assault rifles. We have
Do you
multiple
think
states that
someone
already
hasn't
have
done that yet.
We have multiple states that already have bans on assault rifles. Why can't we just make it countrywide?
Do you think that no one has considered that?
I think that nobody has done it.
Well,
I don't think
is
I've
like
seen it.
Yeah, I wonder what. Because I mean, there are executive actions that are possible to do, which I guess just basically anything you would.
I don't think you can
do
amend the Constitution with the executive
Right,
order.
but there's some areas that's where you can't really do it. So like, I don't know. You probably could have some. You could like just send people out to be like, you'd send people out and do like a sweep of some area. Like I don't know. Like I guess as the president, you can kind of send people to do anything, but then
Constitution-
you'll get in trouble, right? So I don't know.
The Constitution already has regulate in the Second Amendment. It's already in there. So why can you not just define that as president? What regulate means? You're not actually changing the Constitution, you're defining the Constitution. An executive amendment that defines regulate as blah 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 ban assault rifles.
Well, that kind of definition, that would be like a Congress thing, I think.
Yeah, you'd have to legislate that, because I think, based on the interpretations by the Supreme Court.
So why shouldn't we
already
try?
have.
We shouldn't try because it's going to fail. My problem
Yeah,
with all of this is
actually.
that just like we've just decided that we're just no more big ideas, no more trying anything, no more trying to make things better, no more trying to like figure out how do we make the best possible version of the United States. Instead, now we're all just deciding, guys, what can we do next? What will you let us do next?
I just
What's the next thing?
So I thought those summary. I thought each one of them has something going for them. Actually, like maybe I said them in a tone that implied that I didn't believe in the solutions. But
Well, the last one you're asking minorities to put themselves in harm's way just so we can try and get something done with this country. Again, stop asking people to put themselves in harm's way.
Okay,
stop it. There's no reason.
That's a very good point. I accept that point.
The second one about people moving is you need consent. You cannot force people to move without consent, and you cannot force people to.
Don't accept this point. I feel like you could just ask for volunteers.
Okay, yeah, you could totally ask for volunteers. Are you also going to pay for their movement and all that stuff too?
That's
cool.
key.
Yep.
That's key to the whole thing.
And yeah, I think that works.
I'm
Borders.
Create incentives for fucking people to move to Wyoming. Sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
Wyoming definitely should do that.
I'm all for big ideas, Christopher. I mean, I just think that like part of the U.S. is we have like 50 different states, one big government, a billion moving parts, thousands of different cultures, and tens of thousands of different ideas. And if we wanted to let's say we add a 51st state, like, and we were like, all right, guys, we need to put a new star somewhere on the flag. Like, there'd be riots across the street of like where to put the star. Just everyone has a different idea, different opinion.
I understand that, but like saying that we should just continue doing this because it's the way that it's always been done and because some piece of paper from 200 something years ago says that this is the way that it should be done is mentally ill.
I agree with you. I just don't know. I don't know what solution works in the real world legally, quickly enough, etc., etc.
Let's try something. Let's do something. Let's do something. Anything. It doesn't matter. Let's just fucking do something. How about that? Like, that's the solution, is just try something. Instead of this happening, and then we just go through a 24-hour news cycle of how bad gun violence is, and then we all fucking forget about it, and then 2 months later, another school gets shot up. How about we just do anything? Just literally anything to try and fix this.
So what if as an executive action, Biden helps people relocate to, and then get the Senate that way?
I don't think, because the government doing that would be like displacement type of stuff that would cause a lot of issues. If you really want to do that, Nate, you find some fund, fuel it for, I don't know, you'd have to find someone who could find some sort of incentive in, relocating people and things like that.
Just start an NGO or a PAC or something.
Yeah. You also need to relocate a huge amount of people that all have the same kind of like, because just relocating 100,000 Democrats from one state to another isn't instantly going to change that state, right? You need those Democrats to actually register and vote and like become members of that community and that like state. Because you can't just like jump into a state and all of a sudden you're like, I'm voting here. Like you have to have a license, you have to like register in the state, all that stuff.
What if you just buy like 50 square miles of wilderness and then just like make a new city, make like Starling City, and like
I'd love that. Let's do that.
You have to be within, I guess if the point is to like change some votes, you'd have to be within a gerrymandered place you're trying to change. But I don't think that 50 square miles.
No, just anywhere in the state. Anywhere in the state. There you go. Because you just have to be vote for the Senate.
But that's not going to count for the House, though. The House is still part of that argument. And to Justin's point, it doesn't matter if you can't get it passed in the House. Then what does it matter? You're never going to get anywhere.
I mean, we can get shit passed in the House. Like, that's not a problem. It's the Senate that's fucked.
Now we can. But by the time that all those people move and we start voting for Senate, how do you know that we're going to have the same House?
We're probably going to lose midterms because suck dick.
It's just not a great solution.
The only thing
both
that's like...
parties.
Huh?
Sorry, I was just saying we need both parties to agree on this, or both parties to fight for change, because this is not going to be solved by a one-party solution. There's just no fucking way.
I disagree.
We need to find some middle ground that both parties can agree on that would have prevented this tragedy. Because I think that's the only political will that you're going to find is
So what
something
about-
that would specifically stop this one.
How about this constitutional armories idea, where you have some sort of like non-government entity, and it's like their job to secure all the guns?
So I think there was a specific case in the Supreme Court that specified that you can own a weapon for self-defense. Yeah. So in 2008, I can't remember the case, the actual like suit, but in 2008, the Supreme Court upheld that like you have an individual right to own a firearm for self-defense. So unless you amend it, yeah, I don't think you can do that.
Okay, I have an idea. What if every gun has like a computer vision system built into it, and then if the gun's pointed at a kid, it shoots the other way?
So we already have regulations in place to like limit biological weapons, to limit nuclear weapons, right? The Supreme Court says I'm allowed to own a firearm. Why can't I go out and buy a gun that shoots AIDS at people or SARS? You can't do that because it's regulated that like you can't own a biological weapon. You can't own a nuclear weapon. You can't own a weapon of mass destruction. So why are we like we're splitting hairs, but we're deciding that we're just put them on the wrong side?
I completely understand the point you're making, Chris, but I don't understand why you didn't use like a bomb example. That seems like what you're looking for. Like a bomb. Like everybody agrees that people shouldn't have bombs, right? That's not even controversial. Like you'd think that there actually would be some NRA types that would be arguing for their right to have bombs. That's one thing that's always confused me. Actually,
I'm sure that there actually are because there's a lot of states where you can buy like pounds of explosive and use it to blow shit up.
Yeah, you can legally buy a cannon as long as it was manufactured before 1800 because it's considered an antique and it can't actually fire a round in theory. Maybe, I don't know.
Thermite was something.
I just feel like
just buy thermite in some states.
Yeah, you can.
So, Chris, what you brought up reminded me that it was either today or yesterday I read that like China is trying to shame the U.S. and it's like, hey, UN, look, the U.S. isn't doing anything about like the mass shooting and like all the human rights violations in its own country. So I think China inadvertently could help this whole issue by shaming the U.S. and the U.S. would want to sort of turn that around and say, hey, UN, no, look at China's like human rights violations. We're fixing up the mass shooting issue. So I think, like China could fix it by just being like, haha, look.
Yeah, but do we really want to get woke scolded by fucking China?
I think if anything, you're going to get a huge backlash from the people of America who don't want to be doing what China tells them to do. I think.
Yeah, I think
you get
you get backlash from both sides.
If it's a solution, it's a solution.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know.
I would love that. I'd love for every country has been shaming us for the past 20 fucking years about this shit. I would love for some change. Maybe China's the one to do it.
If you want federal action, I think you have to just nuke the filibuster. I think that's the only thing you can do. Which would suck, because then in midterms, Democrats are probably going to get kicked out, and then Republicans do whatever they want, basically. But honestly, I'd eat that bullet. Fuck it.
Yeah.
I
would just like
do
us
shit.
to do it
Just do shit
now and not actually get it done like at the end of the term and then we swap over and now we're mostly Democrats. Maybe we should do it like as soon as possible so that we can make some actual changes.
I wonder if it's possible to just say there's lots of like there's like a company that's making ammunition. There's like making lots of ammunition and stuff. What if it's possible to have some bullet that has like a little computer on it that will be like listening for some like radio signal, and then like when it gets the radio signal, it'll just like blow up. And then like if somebody's on a mass shooting, then
just blow up and release shrapnel into the air. Just literally explosive payload. You
just blow up their ammunition, and well, it'll break their gun. That's the idea.
I see. It explodes in the weapon. I gotcha.
And then they wouldn't because it's like you can't check every bullet that you're going to shoot for something like that.
What if we have a teleportation closet in every school classroom, and this way, if there is an active shooter situation, the children can just go into the teleportation closet and get teleported to the local police station, and then you don't have to then they can just get out of the way of the shooter.
That's brilliant, dude. I love that. That's fucking sick.
Sounds legit.
Let's fund it.
I don't know why we don't just do that.
No,
teleportation closets in every classroom.
I had a point that I wanted to make. Fuck. Maybe I'll remember it in a minute.
It's crazy that you can just buy thermite in some states here. Like, explosives that melt through metal, and you can just buy them.
I don't think anybody's dying to thermite, though.
Well, thermite's not an explosive, right? That's like a...
It's like a powdered mixture that gets extremely hot.
Yeah.
And is used in explosives, but I guess is not itself an explosive.
Yeah, I think so. Isn't it like aluminum powder or something? Like
Composition of metal powder and metal oxide. When ignited by heat or chemical reaction, thermite undergoes an exothermic reduction oxidation reaction. Most varieties are not explosive, but can create brief bursts of heat and high temperature in a small area.
So would one solution be expanding Title II to cover more types of weapons?
I'm not sure what that is.
Explain that a bit.
Title II is machine guns, sawed-off shotguns. What you were saying, Christopher, rocket launchers, grenades, etc. So you can just expand Title II.
So you can't own a sawed-off shotgun. And people are fine with that.
You can own a sawed-off shotgun, but you're in a national and state level registration, and they're serial numbered, and it's tied to you. You need like 3 types of licenses. And
why have we not done that to assault? Why can't we just do that to assault rifles?
Well, there's a solution.
Why can't we just do that to any high?
Just incorporate it into Title II. There's your answer.
There you go. Executive action to incorporate high-capacity assault rifles into Title II.
I think the Biden administration actually is talking about trying to limit some of that, which is great. Like, hopefully they can get something done, but I kind of doubt it. I don't know. Like, the more I hear about like inaction on the federal government, I'm just like, I want to do the filibuster. I just want it to die.
Yeah.
Like, even if it means getting shitty policy in the next 2 years, once the Republicans take over.
I don't think it's going to just be shitty policy. I think it's going to be the end of policy. I think they're going to be like, all right, no more democracy. Like, I think that's
what?
I don't know. Like that. Well, yeah. I just.
Is it worse than where we are? Like, at this point, just fucking do it. Either get closer, like make the end come faster, or fucking try to fix things, because we're not doing either.
You're an accelerationist now.
I just don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah,
I don't want to be in this place anymore.
So I mean, in my personal experience, I've never actually seen anybody get shot.
Oh,
I have heard gunshots in Baltimore, but I have not.
Yes, I have too.
I've seen.
I've never seen it.
I've seen people walk around with guns, but I've never seen and saw the shot from the same person outside of a gun range.
So I don't know. I like
saying more people need to see people get shot so that they can really understand what's happening.
I don't think.
Well, I'm just saying part of it is just an information amplification thing, because it's a huge country, and there's going to be fucked up stuff that's happening somewhere like that. That's true, and it's it doesn't have, the gun thing doesn't have to be there. Like there's a change that's possible there, but there's going to be something fucked up that's happening somewhere, and then like at some point it does become like an information amplification problem, like because I don't know.
I kind of agree with that. I think I worry a little bit about the destigmatizing of it, of like how often we see this stuff, because like over the past month, all right, I'm just going to speak from personal experience. Over this past week, it has been fucking difficult. I've cried multiple times about this shooting over the past week. Many of those kids that were killed look like Brandon when he was a child. Like, it's really hard to see that and not have fear that my nephew is going to go to school one day and get fucking shot because we can't get our shit together as a country. It's really fucking difficult to like see this shit happening and just hear people say, well, this is how it's always done, or there's nothing we can do about it. Because there are things we can do about it. There are things that we could be changing and we could be doing to make this country better. But everybody just thinks, well, this is the way it's always been, and there's too many people to fight against, and there's too many things that are going on to make this even stop. And like, that's not the answer. That's not how we're getting anywhere further on this. We're not getting further by just digging our feet in and staying where we are. We need to make changes. Even if those changes are mistakes, we need to make them. Like, things need to change. Things need to happen so that we can learn what's good and what's bad and move on. We also need to start fucking learning from the shit that we've seen. Columbine happened in 1999, guys. It was 23 fucking years ago. And we are still seeing school shootings on a national scale on a almost weekly basis in this country.
Yeah,
and and we're just acting like it's totally fine because it just happens here. Like, it's ridiculous that we've gotten to this point and there hasn't been a serious discussion that is, hey, we need to actually make this stop, that extends beyond the one news cycle that school is in.
Yeah, it just sucks dick because we have half the country that are willing to sacrifice children to keep their guns.
It's not even to keep their guns. Like, I agree with Christopher. I just think people are trying to do stuff. I just like it's difficult. It's difficult to feel like you can do something personally, other than voting or donating or going to protest.
How about one time? Sorry, Alan, go finish it up.
I was just saying, people are making moves, but then you get to the speed bumps and roadblocks that Justin mentions.
So that's why I'm kind of saying that, like, if we know those speed bumps and roadblocks are there, why do we keep halting ourselves? Why do we keep slowing ourselves down and saying, you know what, fine, let's go with the lowest common denominator. Let's go with the easiest change here. If we know the speed bumps and roadblocks are always going to exist, why don't we just put our foot on the fucking gas and try and get the best that we can, instead of just saying, all right, well, let's settle for whatever the shitty answer is because it's the answer that people will accept. We don't give a shit. People will accept whatever the fuck you give them, apparently. You could just do whatever you want, and then you can just tell people we did it for you, and then they go, oh, okay, cool, thanks.
Yeah, but you can say throw your foot on the gas, but like half the country is going to say no, and we live in a democracy.
No, we don't. We've already decided we don't live in a democracy. We live in a republic.
Representative republic, whatever you want to call it. But half the country says no to those things.
More than half the country says yes to it.
Unless you want to take authoritarian action and say, fuck it, Biden fucking repeal guns, fuck the Supreme Court.
52%.
Fucking just do it.
52% of Americans, as of 2021.
Yeah, and 52% of Americans, I'm sure, would probably
more
support
strict
that
gun
action.
laws.
But
I believe stricter gun control is actually 80% in favor of the general public.
Is it really? I'd have to see the polling on it, but
the issue isn't here that people are going to disagree with it. The issue here is that people are stopping before they even start because they think people are going to disagree with it. We've seen, if we live in a democracy, 52% of our democracy believes in stricter gun laws.
I mean, I thought it was just the Senate. Like, I don't think I think there are like even things just that haven't come up to a vote, right? Like, but
it's the NRA, dude. It's the NRA and politicians. Like, it's the NRA and really heavy, and the politicians that they're paying to like keep the shit up. Like, that's literally what it is.
One thing that's actually kind of crazy is that I think Russia was actually like an NRA donor.
I wouldn't be surprised. Easy way to get Americans to kill each other and fucking wipe this country out without even needing to intervene.
88% support background checks. 75% support national database. 67% support banning assault weapons. 84% support preventing sales of all firearms to people reported as dangerous to law enforcement by mental health provider. 81%.
Can you link? Because that's like that goes against all the polling I've seen.
Right. So I might be just speaking some sort of BS, but that is what this thing says.
I'm just wondering. So, my sister, not to name drop, but like in middle school, my sister was friends with somebody that later went on to make this like animated TV show. And she was really into comics and stuff, and she got her start actually she drew this comic and would like put it in the comic store, right? She didn't like ask the owner or anything. She just like put it right on the shelf, and then and then I think she'd watch and see if somebody would like take it to the shelf and try to buy it or something. Anyway, that's how she got her start like doing like art and stuff. And later on, she went on to make this like successful TV show. And I'll awkwardly just like not say who because that's weird, but. What if people do the same thing with ammo that just doesn't work? Just like straight up sabotage like 5.56 ammo.
Yeah, replace all the ammo with ammo that doesn't work. Replace it all with blanks.
Oh no, ammo that'll just. What if it'll actually just break the gun?
Okay,
that's rude.
That's kind of one argument that I've heard before that might get around the Second Amendment is you don't restrict guns. Like fuck it,
ammo?
You restrict ammo. You just restrict ammo. And I wonder if there's like an actual legal argument for that. if that was
didn't
true,
Dave Chappelle say that like 10 years ago?
maybe, yeah.
Just
You'd
make a
also
bullet
have
cost
to restrict,
$500.
You'd have to
Nobody's
restrict
gonna shoot
private
somebody if
party
it costs
sales of that as
$500.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that actually might be easier to regulate. And then you can be like, okay, what's the reasonable amount to have for home defense? Like 15 bullets or something. And then you wouldn't be able to pack like 5,000 bullets in your car and like go to school or something.
Or go to Las Vegas and snipe people out of a hotel window.
Yeah.
Oh, this is an interesting poll. Like these questions are pretty direct, and it seems like they have
Majority approval for a lot of it.
yeah. Like if this is true, they should just do shit.
But they can't.
Fling
Dude.
it. No.
We don't
Like,
live in a democracy.
if
We're not the
there
ones who
are-
decide.
If there are people willing to support these policies and they're willing to hold their representatives accountable for it, maybe they can actually do it. I don't know. Like fire on these polls, like say like, hey, fucking 80% of the people support stricter things or background checks or whatever the fuck this says. Just fucking do it. Fire. Just do it.
So just make that the main issue, like in every Senate race. Like,
Yeah, just like really hammer on it, and
It's gonna be a big one coming up soon.
Yeah, and hopefully this stays long enough in the American fucking collective memory. But if they have polling that's this strong, this is pretty crazy. Is this national? Like, where was this?
yeah, that is a big part of the strategy. Like sometimes I just think of like politicians as just like, a list of all their positions on all their issues, but really like which of those issues they select to bring to the forefront. That is a big part of it. So that's really like where you get to do strategy, I guess. So
We have a governor race coming up here soon in Texas, and it's going to be a big swinging point for it. Beto O'Rourke versus Abbott. We will have a Democratic governor of Texas.
what was he doing? He was doing Senate, and that was actually kind of close, right?
What if Abbott wins?
Who?
Do you think he'll win?
Do I think Abbott will win? I think it's very, very possible that Abbott will win. Because, again, like, it doesn't fucking matter what people vote for anymore. Everything's gerrymandered to fuck. Everything is cut up in a way to, like, support Republicans' continuous win in these races. So
Okay, I take some issue with that. Yes, things are gerrymandered to fuck, but the way it's gerrymandered is to give them like a large enough majority to be comfortable. If there's like some issue that's saying that's like really pushing toward Democrats, they can overcome that. You just need to get people to actually fucking vote.
And it might actually break apart really dramatically too. That's kind of the downside of gerrymandering, right? It's like you try to pick the level of safety that you want, but if that gets breached, then you just lose like everything. Then you like anti-gerrymander yourself in that situation.
I have to believe that the gerrymandering that's getting done, the amount of work that's getting put into this, that they are thinking about that, and they're doing it in places that aren't so easy to break into.
Yeah, but I mean, there's only so much you can actually do with it. It's not like a foolproof kind of thing. Again, they're putting some level of comfort in there, but it can only work so far as people allow it to.
I guess so. What you'd want to do if you're gerrymandering, you just want to make super concentrated, super majority districts of your opponents. We don't want to get all your opponents in just a few districts. That's like the main thing that you'd want to do. But that's actually not going to help on like a statewide level thing. So you might. So if Beto does win, he actually might have a tough road against the legislature there. But I don't know. It would mean something if he's the governor, at least. If nothing else, just symbolically.
Yeah. I personally think that education's a big problem in a lot of this, and a lot of arguments, especially with anything politically, is that we've just like decided it's easier to, or the ruling class have just decided that it's easier to keep people stupid because they're easier to maintain that way.
I mean, people are stupid on their own. Like there's no control needed for
People
that.
are stupid on their own, but they're smarter than ever. Like we
are they
children today versus adults of like the 1900s. Are you kidding me?
Okay, yeah. If you want to do 100-year difference, then sure, buddy. All right.
I saw it like I would have thought that just everybody would understand the value of educating children, but I saw somebody on Reddit make this comment about like how like Republicans are like privatizing and sabotaging education, and then they'd have like more people like Marjorie Tyler, whatever her name, like her.
Yeah.
And it actually clicked for me. I was like, "Holy shit! Maybe that's true. Like, maybe they actually do want everybody to be
100%
really dumb."
true.
And then it's like talking about like the pear tree dishes or whatever it is. Like, every word she says, like,
it's creating another like ruling class, right? It's creating another like class system with the serfs and like the ruling class, and we're going back to like medieval times. We're just doing that again because we've decided, hey, what if we just take all this education out, keep people stupid, pump them full of Fox News, and then they'll just do whatever we fucking tell them to. They'll vote for whatever we tell them to. They'll believe in whatever we tell them to, regardless if it's true or not, because nobody's going to do the legwork to look it up themselves, and nobody's smart enough.
People aren't watching Fox News against their will. They're watching Fox News because they like it, because it agrees with them.
Not entirely true. There's some areas where it's like literally the only thing you can.
Everybody has cable, dog. Like I lived in fucking Shreveport, Louisiana.
So fucking incorrect. You are so far divorced from like just general people. Not everybody has cable, dude. What are you talking about?
Okay, if you're watching Fox News, it's because you have fucking cable.
Go drop.
I don't think Fox News is in basic cable. I think like a Fox channel is in cable, like Fox 46 and Fox 25, but Fox News is a cable channel.
Yes.
But I had a couple points to Christopher's comments. If you could control the serfs of everyone and instill your democratic ideals across the country, would you?
No, because that's not the point. The point is consent, is that you make people intelligent enough to understand the questions that they are being asked, and then you have them make an informed decision on it. So that's it. Like, that's all I'm asking for.
If everyone was educated and decided they want to keep assault rifles, would that still be okay?
Yeah. I don't think that would happen, though. I think if everybody was educated and actually looked at the facts, like Justin was saying, if a CDC report comes out and it's indisputable facts, we have
If we're talking about facts, I want to bring up a point, all right?
Okay.
So if you look at the weapons used in murders and mass shootings, rifles are a minority. They are 2% of murders, whereas handguns are 45%.
Are those deaths or murders?
This is specifically
this is just
for
the
murders.
type. No, this is just the number of weapons used. There's nothing to do with.
This is murders by weapon type. I can link it if you want.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty well established. But like, so there was a Virginia Tech thing that did it that was handguns.
Right, Sandy Hook was handguns. Like, handguns are used more often in mass shootings than rifles are. Still, it is by a much smaller majority, but they're still way more used in in shootings in general than rifles are. If you want to burn political capital on something, you should try to get handguns banned before you should try to get assault rifles banned. In my opinion, like,
do you think...
because they're responsible for more murders. If you're trying to reduce murders, you should target the weapon that's.
Are they responsible for more murders, or are they responsible for more instances? There's a complete difference. Like, one person with an assault rifle, one person with a handgun, I don't think they can murder the same amount of people.
I mean, they both hold like 10 rounds of a clip or something.
I mean, you just got to multiply so say it's like the chance plus like just times the number of guns that exist, right? Like that's what you're gonna get. But I think you could make the argument to like go for the gun that's like most dangerous per gun, right? Like,
yeah. So this is by homicide. There's a breakdown per state further down in the PDF or whatever it is.
Okay, so this isn't mass shooting. This is just homicide.
This is just homicide.
So it makes a lot more sense for handguns.
And when I say per gun, I don't mean per gun type. I mean per individual gun. So what gun's the most dangerous per manufactured gun? right? I think that's the question worth asking, because then each incremental additional one will be causing that kind of impact.
Slightly off topic, but would you support conscription if that helped reduce gun deaths, but let's say by a large margin?
Military conscription?
Yes.
Yeah, fuck it, do it. Everyone serves 2 years in the military. If it actually works, then good.
There's a lot of countries.
There's a lot of countries that do that.
Yeah, I think Sweden does that. And
I think that we would have to have better socialized, like we'd have to have better medical care and better services to take care of veterans. But yeah, in general, sure, why not?
I believe it's either Switzerland or Sweden that has conscription and has an extremely high, what's it called, gun ownership rate, I think, among the men.
I think I've heard of it.
They have conscription, and I think their ammo is regulated, less so the guns. So I mean, maybe you're thinking just like the training and the frame. It's like giving people an opportunity to experience guns a certain way, as opposed to just in their like fantasies. Yeah, so I think
to experience it as part of like a normal social.
I think it hits a lot of Christopher's points. It hits education. It hits real world consequences and effects of guns. Presumably, you're shown a few fucking slideshows of someone's head blowing up when like.
So
I don't think that's something people see and they don't really realize. Like Nate, you were talking about a few weeks ago. Like you got down a weird rabbit hole of like the whole Russia-Ukraine thing. And
right.
At the end of the day, that's sort of like I guess it's more like destruction and stuff, but there's a lot of gun violence within that destruction. It's not pretty, right? So
the thing that I saw that made me realize that I could not continue doing that, at least to the degree that it was like a gun thing. It wasn't like a bomb thing. Like,
so
yeah.
Justin, I appreciate the references. Sorry, go ahead. Continue.
No, I'm done. Go ahead, buddy.
One of these is for the U.S. Concealed Carry Association, and the other one is for a criminal law defense attorney that is fighting for gun rights.
Okay. They still cite
just
studies.
Feel like those are incredibly
underlying.
Biased.
Maybe, but either way, the facts are the facts. They have studies that they cite.
I just don't think it's surprising. I think there's just way more handguns than there are rifles. Like, right, I don't.
There's way more handguns.
I actually was kind of annoyed by this because somebody like posted this comparison of the gun deaths between like Canada and the United States, and I'm just honestly I'm not interested in the difference in absolute numbers of gun deaths between Canada and the United States, because it's meaningless, because you can't compare a country with 330 million people with a country with like 20 million people. It just doesn't make sense. But I am very interested in like the difference in the rate. Right, like, yeah. and there is an interesting difference in the rate. Like, the difference in the total is like silly. It like doesn't even make sense. But that's just compounded by the difference in population. But like, and then the difference in rate is also extreme, and that's more interesting. So if there is like a difference in rate between different types of guns, I think that might be more interesting than like the total numbers. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, either way, if I had it my way, like, you make me dear leader, I'm saying fucking ban guns. Like, no more guns. We can't handle them. We're just pulling Australia. Gun buyback programs, get them all out of here. Fuck it. I think that's the only way you're going to get like a massive reduction, near zero of gun violence.
I think I would actually probably try to do like a gun zone and a no gun zone and a border. Because it's like there's going to be lots of people. It's like you're going to piss off so many people. And like...
Right, you're going to piss off so many people anyway, so why not just go and do the thing that's going to be the most beneficial for, like, the country?
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but I don't think there's any mechanism for it. So I can shout that from the rooftops all I want. It's never going to happen.
I mean, no matter what we say here, nothing is ever going to...
I feel like
you got to repeal the filibuster. Fuck it.
No,
Our
I
feel
changes
like-
are not going to fix anything.
no.
I feel like the whole situation would be easier if there's like an out for like, I don't know. It's like, okay, at least I can live here, like with my gun or whatever. But I just don't want to have to accept that as like part of my life. You know, I don't know.
I think I understand Justin's sentiment of saying like can't do shit while like filibuster and stuff exists.
Okay, so
but
to be clear,
also, yes,
I'm not saying we can't do shit. I'm saying we should focus efforts on local and state level policies,
sure,
because nothing's going to move federally. It is not possible. But we do have really large majorities at the state and the local levels. We can move a lot of shit there.
So why can't other countries that have very similar governmental structures as we do have no problem with implementing these kind of changes?
They just have different cultures. Like, they don't like guns as much as we do. That's it. That's all there is to it.
I don't know. I don't know if that's
You really
true.
love guns, dude. Like, we fucking suck gun dick like all day.
This is the NR. Okay. Yeah, we just are born in America. If you're born on American soil, you just are born with a love of guns.
You're not born that
with
way,
a
but
gun
you
in
are
your
raised
hand.
that way for sure.
Yeah, maybe that's a problem.
It is. I don't know
America-
how you change that culture.
America's
Unless
actually
you
much
get rid of
more
guns.
rural. It's much more rural than like most other developed countries. Like most people in Europe live in cities to a very large degree, and like in America, people live in cities to like not as large of a. It's like just the population's spread out over like the countryside more here.
Yeah, I think there's something to that.
I think that kind of rural versus urban like attitude about guns being different is. I think you'll find that all over the world, but like America kind of skews more rural. Which seems strange to say because it's like a lot of the famous American things are in cities, but I don't know. It's just a big country, really.
I agree. But I also agree it's cultural, and I don't know how you not stop that, but change that. I do think talking about it's good, Christopher. I think we can do something by just the four of us talking. Like if we had banged our heads together and come up with a suitable idea, why not? Like we could have run with that. All it takes is an email to the right person, and that can get the ball rolling for something. I think it's important to recognize sort of the power of one voice, or just the power of the effort of typing an email. I think that's sort of an important thing to recognize. Did we find the magic to use a very bad analogy, the magic bullet that can get the words to that email or talk to the right person? I don't think so, but I think it's important to talk about it.
Did we create a magnet for a bunch of random NRA supporters to just operate out of nowhere on YouTube? Do we do that?
Dude.
Hopefully not.
Like,
Like red face.
no such thing as bad publicity, right?
They found like random 15-year-old Nathan. They found my video.
Random 50-year-old Nathan. It's pretty good, dude. What if? Okay, I had a thought.
Yes, sir.
What if we prosecuted cops that take inaction against school shooters?
I don't think that's going to help really anybody.
No.
Yeah.
I think maybe they could pass. I think a lot of people are pissed at the fucking Olvad police. Maybe that could pass. Who knows? At least in Texas.
I mean,
I don't think you're going to get. I don't think you're going to get any legislation passed that's going to prosecute cops even more. We're already having difficult time prosecuting or passing any legislation that holds cops even like mildly accountable for stuff like shooting unarmed.
For minority issues, yeah, of course. For kids, I don't know. Maybe we can move the needle on that one.
We're going to put a law in that says if you don't stop a kid from getting shot, you get shot.
Yeah.
The problem with that, Justin, is there was a case, New York case, I think, that said that police have no duty to protect you.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Interesting. Yeah.
So I think maybe, I don't know. So you have like a lifeguard has a duty to protect you, but if you're in the pool and there's a lifeguard there and they're flirting with someone in the corner and you drown, like that's a big problem. Maybe doing something like that for the police. Maybe like, I don't know, police have a duty to protect in an emergency situation defined as X, Y, and Z, and one of those X, Y, and Z's could be, an active shooter in some sort of scenario, and then police can be held accountable. But then that doesn't solve the mass shooter issue. That just solves police accountability issue. So.
Yeah, I think really what people want to do is avoid this situation, because that's the only thing on people's minds. Like, if you're going to implement some solution, it needs to address this situation.
Well, yeah, I think we've really covered through a lot of this whole topic. At least I'm feeling I don't have like a big slice of it that I still feel like I want to address. So I don't know. Is there any points that other people here still want to make?
I'm pretty dry. How about you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about a lot.
And we talked for almost like 2 hours.
I don't know. I don't know what we can add that we haven't said already.
No, that's fine.
It is a sort of sensitive topic generally, but especially so given recent events.
Yeah. I just didn't want to talk for anybody and just say that we were done. Yeah. If somebody didn't feel like they're done.
We should say something, because it's quite the somber note to end on, unless you think it's appropriate to end in such a way.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a really happy way to end this one. That was one of the reasons why I was thinking maybe a different topic, but yeah.
I mean,
vote for Democrats. Don't vote for Republicans. There's no reason to do it.
Vote for whoever you feel you agrees with your politics.
Vote for Democrats.
I wish I didn't feel like a joke every time I said that.
Third policy, and no third party shit. No Republicans.
It actually seems like it should be a good idea.
What?
Moving to Wyoming?
No.
If you want to do it, dude, do it. Like you're full remote. Do it up. Make that one vote difference.
I just need to find like a nice college town.
Yeah, sure, man. I'm sure they have a college. Do it.
I'm sure, like, you pick any random town in Wyoming, it's not gonna have a Chipotle. But you go to like the one town that has a college, I'm pretty sure there'll be a Chipotle. So
good chance.
Chipotle is
high
your
odds.
Yeah.
It's one of the criteria. Yeah. All right. So any shout outs? Anybody wants to make any? Maybe we should just like anything going on besides this issue. Anything?
I've been playing a lot of V Rising. It's an
the
early access game. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like a vampire Diablo Valheim kind of thing. It's interesting. It reminds me a lot of Blood Omen, Legacy of Kain. It's like an isometric vampire RPG, but it has a lot of building elements and stuff to it.
How heavy is it? I read one of the tags was MMO. How heavy is it in the MMO, if any?
So you can create a server, and people, just like with any other like survival building game, like a lot of people can like build their keeps and stuff in that server, and then you can all play together. So that's about it. I'm playing with some friends on another server right now.
Excellent.
But like essentially, you just can see each other, and when it's always persistent, so your character's always in the world. Like even if you're logged out, you just log out inside your coffin. But like you can see the other people who are playing in like their locations and stuff.
Are you playing it on the deck or on the computer?
I'm playing it on the computer right now.
Excellent.
But it's cool shit. You can like it starts super simple, but like as you start to progress it and unlock more weapons and upgrade your character and upgrade a lot of stuff, there's a lot of depth in it that I wasn't really expecting. So it's cool.
So like the original premise of Fortnite, that it's like it's co-op and you're building a fort and it's like a kind of like a tower defense sort of thing. That original premise sounds awesome to me. I never played Fortnite in that mode though, but that also sounds cool in a similar.
Yeah, it's a lot more less like wavy. Like there are waves coming at you. You're building your castle to like upgrade your own personal thing, but it's a lot more about like your personal progression and RPG progression. Like you unlock new spells, new abilities, you have like this table that you go to and you track different bloodlines, and it'll like show these like blood trails to like these different people that you can go and kill and get special powers from and stuff. So you can like hunt them down by smelling their blood and like kill them, and then you feed them, and then you get access to powers and shit.
So you're the wave. You're not defending against the wave. You're the wave.
You are 100% the bad guy in this game.
Yeah. Are you? Is it like PvP focused or like PvE focused?
There's definitely PvP in it. It's both. Like you can attack other players. There's a whole PvP aspect to it. I don't know if it's the main focus of the game, but it's something you can definitely do. And there's public servers that you can play on with like, I think it's up to 40 people per server, and you can attack people on that too. They're probably gonna whoop your ass because everybody's been playing for a long time already, and they're like super high level or whatever.
How new is this game? Like
maybe like a few weeks.
How are people already high level?
Probably like 2 weeks, I think.
Are you kidding, Justin?
Yeah. All right. Yeah. All right. I said it and I was like, wait, what the fuck is wrong with me? Like almost immediately.
May 17th. So yeah, about 2 weeks. It's good. I'm enjoying it. I'm having a good time with it. I really want them to not be in early access anymore because I hate that shit. Just release your game. Just release your game. Just release it.
Yeah, just fuck it. Just pitch it out there.
Just say it. Just say it's, yeah, just fucking release your game.
It's a game. It's out there. It's in the world.
But yeah, it's fun. I'm having a good time with it. I'm just like, I haven't played anything that's been like Legacy of Kain in a really long time. Have anybody played that? It was like a PS1 vampire game.
I played Legacy of Kain fucking demo like over and over and over again on that demo disc. Love that shit.
Yeah, dog.
I think I rented it a couple times from Blockbuster too. It was really fun.
Yeah.
So I also have an indie game to pimp out. So I've been playing Peglin. It's a roguelike in the style of fucking Peggle. Does anybody remember that? The fucking PopCap game where you have a board full of pegs and you shoot a ball and it bounces between all the pegs and the pegs disappear?
Didn't we play that on like Facebook shit together?
Yes, we did. We played the shit out of it. It was great.
It was great.
I fucking love Peggle. So like in Peglin, you're doing the same thing, but as you knock out pegs, you build up damage that you use to defeat enemies along the top of the screen. And like every ball you shoot, they kind of approach you and then they start doing damage to you and your health goes down and you might die. It's a roguelike because every level you pass, you get a new type of ball. And like they all have different effects. Like some are fucking, they bounce up through the pegs. Some are fireballs, so they like bounce around and blow up bombs. Like all kinds of stupid different effects. Really fun game. Like really good for the Steam Deck. I don't know. I really enjoy it. I think it might be a little overpriced right now. It's $20. There's not quite enough content there, but I'm still pretty happy with it overall. I think it's like a $7 game as opposed to $20 game, but you know, I would still highly recommend it. It's pretty fun.
There is a free demo if anyone's interested.
There sure is. I beat the game in 2 hours. If you want to buy it and then return it, you can.
Have you played Vampire Survivor?
I have. I played the shit out of it. I have like 30 hours in that fucking game. Fuck that game.
That's another one. That
I lost my Steam save like halfway through it. Like I played for like 2 weeks and then randomly like it restores back to my 2-week-old save. I have no idea what happened, but I was mega sour.
Like a cloud sync problem or something?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know what the fuck happened.
Sucks.
I was pissed.
Vampire Survivors.
So there's a game that came out that I'm kind of excited about, but I haven't actually tried it yet. But it's an awesome studio. Blackbird Interactive, they're the one that picked up the Homeworld franchise. So it's not really an indie game, but it's definitely like more of like a niche studio. And I just think like they do these like spaceship-y, vibey, homeworldy things. It's just like it's my favorite sci-fi franchise. I don't know if this one is actually specifically like in the Homeworld universe or not, like lore-wise, but the vibes are very similar. And it just looks cool. So it's like this game. Go ahead.
Have you played their other games?
Oh, Desert Sahara, yeah.
Hardspace Shipbreaker, apparently?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm talking about. So it's like you have to take apart like spaceships. I was watching somebody playing it on YouTube. Deserts of Karak was an awesome game. Excellent prequel to all the Homeworld games. I think all the Homeworld games are amazing. It's one of my favorite game franchises. And I don't know if this game's actually is technically in their franchise or not, but same studio and it's also just like cool space shit.
So yeah, hard space is cool.
Neat. I have been doing complete opposite of everyone, and I've been playing. I was on vacation for a few days, but I've been playing like Stardew Valley, mini motorways, and Kingdoms and Castles, and just fucking building shit.
Which Stardew Valley mod or something?
No, just like Stardew Valley. Like I made a new farm and just started fucking like chopping trees and stuff.
Sick.
Dope.
I don't know, just like
Playing on the Steam Deck.
good, super chill. No, I'm playing on my computer.
Do you have your Steam Deck yet, or are you still waiting?
No, I'm waiting. I might get it as late as fucking August.
I'm
so
surprised. I thought you would have got yours before me.
So Justin and I calculated. I ordered mine 3 hours after he did. Apparently, that also means 6 months later.
That's correct. That's correct. If you didn't get in there when there were fucking website problems, you were fucked. You need to do that shit when the site was down.
See you in 6 years when you actually have it.
Yeah, seriously. Which is fine. I hope, Justin, you had that issue where you had to like reinstall the OS a couple times. Hopefully, software updates.
Oh my god,
fix it by then.
I was on the beta channel. Hopefully there was just some bullshit going on in the beta channel that they didn't test well, and now it's fixed. Because I haven't had any problems since I switched to stable channel. But I also haven't tried anything like funky. I did get PS2 working. PS2 games working, and it runs pretty good. I hear PS3 games work pretty well. Like, it's pretty sick.
I just want it by November. Like, I'm fine waiting. I'd rather have it now, but I'm fine waiting. I can be patient. I just would like it by at least November, just to have it for like the holidays and stuff, in case I end up traveling or anything like that. That would be ideal, but I'm all right.
Yeah, I did travel with my Steam Deck. It's fucking huge. It's just really, really fucking big.
So, I mean, I don't mind that because my fucking laptop I have a 17.3 inch laptop, and I shouldn't have gotten one that big. I admit it. Like, shouldn't have gotten one that big, and mine's like a full aluminium body, so it's like fucking heavy as shit.
Yeah, it's the mobile desktop, right?
It's pretty much the mobile desktop.
Yeah.
So I used to carry that and a screen and a full size keyboard in my backpack. So I'm.
What was it, like 30 pounds?
It's heavy. It's not light because the laptop itself is, I think, 10.1 pounds.
Yeah, like huge laptops like that are pretty fucked, but at least they're like still pretty flat. The thing about the deck is it's just fucking thick.
Chonk.
It's like
chonk.
Fucking 4 inches across or something, like in all directions. Like, and it takes up so much space in your goddamn bag, in like an awkward way. Like a little switch, like this thick, like it just kind of slips in there and you can just sit on top of whatever. Deck is just like you need dedicated space for that fucker.
This is my Switch case. This is pretty thick still.
No. You're talking about like 2, maybe 3 of those for the deck.
Jesus, I think like 50% more. You're saying 2x?
I think it's 2x thick. Yeah, like maybe next week I'll get my deck and my Switch case like ready to go. But like it is significantly different.
Yeah, it's surprisingly big.
I did something kind of out of character recently. So like, there's this coffee shop sort of down the street a ways that I've been going to with my laptop sometimes. I decided that like for work I'd work here, but maybe if I was going to be working on something else, I'd just try to have some fun with it and like go somewhere else. And I'd bring along this like USB-C monitor too, so I could have 2 monitors. But I was sitting there and I actually had this weird sense that it's like I didn't want to be the only person with 2 monitors. What's wrong with me? Like, I don't know. I never would have imagined like having like cold feet about pulling out the second monitor. Like I just gotta go for it. I don't know. Oh well. Next time. Yeah. I think it's partly just a hassle. I felt like I was plugging in cables like a lot longer than
I think
I would have been otherwise.
It's only worth that in that situation if you have a Thunderbolt computer and a Thunderbolt monitor and it's just one cable for both power.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, it's like some kind of USB-C Thunderbolt-y. Yeah.
But I've seen people do that. Like Mac users will take like their Apple Air and their iPad, because like Apple has some sort of app that makes that really easy. So they use their iPad as a second monitor.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But do you, Nate? Whip out the second monitor if you want.
One thing that's funny is like that monitor at some point it got like bent into like a curve shape, and people just like assume it's like supposed to be like that because there's these like curved monitors. No,
it still works like like that.
Yeah,
wow, that's
still works
crazy,
fine. Yeah, it's like it's like the aluminum like part of it bent, but like the actual screen was flexible enough.
Excellent job, Nate.
Thank you. Anyway, by the way, what I was making at these arrows to my game. Check it out. Should I see some arrows?
What's the name of the game?
729. Basically, like, I was actually, you were one of the people that suggested it. But yeah, I think at least 3 people told me that's like when they would try swiping the tile around, like it would go the wrong way.
So where's the game? Is it on Android? Is it on iOS?
Yeah, right now the only version that has that new thing is just on the website.
Oh, okay.
It's on like the it's my GitHub username, Nathan/69s. I probably shouldn't have the company name there. Like, I don't know. It was this weird thing where I had this GitHub name, and then somebody suggested I link my personal GitHub to this customer project, and I was like, shit, I don't know. Like, what if I have this weird like username? Didn't want to. I don't know. Like, I ended up not making a new Git. I probably should have. I ended up not making a new GitHub account for that, and so now I have my like company name in my personal GitHub, which I should probably try to fix somehow.
I think you can change names. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you actually, it's weird. You can actually just change your actual account name, and then that will change all your domain names for their self-hosted like pages.
Oh, that sounds easy then. You should do that.
It's easy it's easy for you, but I just wonder how it'd be harder. But anyway, yeah. All right.
All right, gentlemen. Good talking. Everyone tune in next week where we'll be talking about more stuff and things. Nathan, sing us out.
Hopefully we'll less screaming next week.
How's that?
Excellent job, Nate.
Thank you.
All right, take it easy, folks. See ya.
See you guys.
See ya.